Another hot summer night in Central Texas, 95 degrees outside as we get you ready for Game 2 of this WPF series between the Coastal Bend Tidal Wave and the Texas Monarchs. A thriller last night saw the Monarchs win in walk-off fashion. Tonight, the Tidal Wave looked to even things up here in San Marcos. Coming to you on the official WPF YouTube channel, Brant Freeman alongside Haley McKay. Boy, and again, Haley, what a finish last night.
Yeah, really nice to see such a competitive matchup after so many lopsided scores so far this season across all four teams. But the Monarchs able to deliver the walk-off blow, 7-4, to take the victory.
Let's take you back to that heroic swing by Sarah Vanderford, a three-run shot to win the game.
Sarah Vanderford's hit a lot of home runs in this ballpark as a former Texas State Bobcat. Finally able to make the adjustment last night on the rise ball for the Monarchs, and that one's not coming back. Monarchs win 7-4, courtesy of the walk-off home run from Sarah Vanderford.
And that's the second walk-off home run of the season for Vanderford, both coming at this ballpark here in San Marcos, where she called home for so many college seasons. So now we turn from Sarah Vanderford to the starting pitcher tonight. Jaden Vickers about to walk into the circle here for the Monarchs. But again, Vanderford getting back to her. Just a huge swing last night. She's had a lot of success in her rookie season. And there's Vickers in the circle now for the Monarchs. Jaden Vickers, the only pitcher in the WPF to beat the Texas Smoke this season. Wrapped up her college career not long ago at Kentucky, 1 year and done with the Wildcats before that. 4 years at Rutgers, 5 Division I seasons, 33 career wins, and 74 starts. And she gets a start here tonight. And now the batting order for the Tidal Wave. Malaysia Ochoa bats leadoff, should be followed by Tate Whitley, and then a late change in the lineup made by the Tidal Wave. The red-hot Tatum Monzaldo is a late scratch, so now batting third in her place is Julia Jimenez at third base. She'll be followed by Trinity Cannon batting cleanup, then Kelly Lynch and Rylan Wiggins, batters 7, 8, and 9, Rock Benavidez, Reagan Glanz, and Grace Shellerman. So, Haley, if you're the Tidal Wave, got to find a way to bounce back after a heartbreaking way to lose last night.
Yeah, it's always a heartbreaker to drop a game so late, especially for someone like Cassie Valdez, who pitched so well for the Tidal Wave. But today's a new day. The game doesn't know what happened last night, what's carrying over into today, so you just have to approach it as a clean slate, try to get ahead early and often if you're the Tidal Wave.
That loss snapped a 2-game winning streak for Coastal Bend, a team that had won 6 of 8 prior to last night's loss. And just the second time that Coastal Bend has lost in a walk-off fashion this year. The only other time was opening day against Hub City up in Lubbock. Ochoa into the box, and off we go. First pitch is low, ball one from Jaden Vickers.
You know, going back to how do you bounce back from a walk-off, we saw some good vibes coming from that Tidal Wave dugout, down there. So they're having fun. They got the matching blue shades on, and seems like they're feeling good so far going into Game 2 here of the series.
Count evens, 1 ball, 1 strike, of the foul ball hit by Malaysia Ochoa. Something to watch for. The top 4 of the order were really, really good for Coastal Bend last night. Exemplary effort, 8 for 16 for the top 4 hitters with 4 RBI, and they didn't strike out once. But it was the bottom half of the order that really struggled as Ochoa grounds a base hit through the middle, and she's on with a leadoff single, similar to what we saw last night, but a good start here for Coastal Bend.
Ochoa doing a nice job. Gets a pitch lower in the zone, but doesn't try to do too much with it at all. Just hits it hard right up the middle where it came from for an easy single to get the Tidal Wave rolling.
So hitters 5 through 9, after you got past Trinity Cannon, the hitters 5 through 9 were 1 for 14 with 5 strikeouts last night.
Definitely tough to win ball games, especially late when you have the bottom half of your order that's just really giving you no production. Because if you're the Monarchs, you can get through that top part, maybe give up a couple runs here and there, but it gives you a lot of confidence when you know that you just got to get through this part. Whereas if you're facing a lineup like the Texas Smoke, for example, that we've seen so many times that is just absolutely stacked 1 through 9 in this league, it's much harder mentally as a pitcher to get through that.
After the wild pitch, awarding Ochoa another base. Whitley with a bunt that goes foul. Tate Whitley batting second in the order. Good night last night, 2 for 4 with a run scored. part of that top 4 of the order that produced in a big way for this lineup. Tidal Wave scoring 3 runs in the first inning last night, courtesy of that 3-run homer from Cannon. That's in there for strike 1 and 2 right down the heart of the plate. So Jane Vickers, again, starting in the circle tonight for the Monarchs. Last night had kind of a unique position. She was the first base coach.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Monarchs, head coach Candace Fenton-Bachbrader is unavailable yesterday and today due to a family emergency. So players having to step in, help out where they can, make sure their teammates aren't hanging out to dry over there as a base runner at first base.
Easy ground ball handled by Kylie Sam, but it is productive. That'll move Ochoa to third. And the first out of the game. So, yes, Candace Fenton-Bachbrader again out with the team. Got a shot at Tyler Gunnelston to the dugout moments ago, the acting head coach. And we'll see who's at first base for the Monarchs tonight when they bat. And now it's Julia Jimenez. Tough night for her in the opener, 0 for 3, struck out twice. And Vickers starts her off with 1 in the zone. No balls, 1 strike here to Jimenez.
If I'm Jimenez right here in this at-bat, runner on third base, only 1 out. You mentioned it, tough night at the plate last night. Just trying to get a pitch on the outer half of the plate, hit a weak ground ball to that right side. Even if it's recorded as an out, just get a productive at-bat, put a ball in play. And sometimes if you're struggling at the plate, even if you can just push a run across, whether it goes down as a hit or not in the books for you, it just kind of gets that clean slate going. Feels like you're contributing to your offense. Can take a lot of that pressure off your back.
Again, Jimenez, a late addition to the lineup after the late scratch of Tatum Anzaldo, and that is a huge bat, not in the order for Coastal Bend. Anzaldo, one of the hottest batters in this lineup. Last night, 3 hits to include that game-tying RBI double in the 5th inning.
Yeah, super rare to see such a late change like that. We don't know the full story on why she was in lineup and is now no longer. Hopefully it's not injury related or anything like that. Maybe we'll see her later in the game. Who knows? But it can also be tough as a hitter when you think you're sitting the bench to start and you get a call from your coach says, hey, I need you to go in right here.
Yeah.
And could be especially tough after the night that Jimenez had last night at the plate. So we'll see how she adjusts after kind of the late switch.
2-2, a swing and a miss, and that is the first strikeout for Vickers. Jimenez, a strikeout victim for a 3rd time in the series.
What a great pitch from Jaden Vickers. Goes to the changeup here, but it's so effective because she locates it on the exact same corner as the hard stuff. You can see Jimenez way out in front of that pitch, not expecting the off speed at all because Vickers had not showed it yet in this game. Really nicely done by Jaden Vickers for out number 2.
Now to the plate, Trinity Cannon blasted a 3-run homer last night in the 1st inning. One of her 2 hits in the opener last night.
I had the privilege of watching Trinity Cannon a lot near the end of her college career at Texas A&M this past year. And she has just been swinging the bat so well, it feels like, ever since postseason play started in the 2024 college season and even carrying through here her first season in WPF. Just so dangerous at the plate. Always looks so cool, calm and collected in there. I wouldn't want to throw against her if I was a pitcher, that's for sure.
Vickers going after her here. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cannon. I know you work with young kids a lot that play the game. Well, Cannon, when talking to younger players, her message to them is don't ever think your craft is perfected, and you have to continue to put in the work. I'm sure that's a similar message you pass along to the kids that you coach.
Yeah, that's such an important lesson to learn. Even in a lot of times kids that get recruited in high school to go to the college level, the work is just beginning, and the work never stops no matter what level of the game you reach. And when you think about how brief our time as women's athletes are, there's such a small percentage that get to go pro like you see here. You have to focus on how can I get 1% better today. And not every athlete in this sport is built the same, which is one of the things that I love about it so much. You can have so many different gifts and find ways to be successful.
Well, that's success right there. Jaden Vickers throwing one right down the pipe. Cannon caught looking after the leadoff base hit. No run scores for the Tidal Wave. Vickers ends her first inning with a couple of back-to-back Ks. We head to the bottom of the first inning with the Monarchs batting for the first time. Fairly high bar for Haley Archer to reach after Cassie Valdez was dynamite in the circle last night for the Tidal Wave. In Valdez's start, 6 innings, struck out a dozen, only walked one, although she was a losing pitcher. But Archer, a very successful career at Cal, 4 seasons in the Pac-12. Hailing from Columbus, New Jersey, this year for the Golden Bears, a 3.01 ERA and a career-high 96 strikeouts. And tonight, Archer will face a Monarch lineup that looks like this. Kylie Sand, Devin Flaherty, Sarah Vanderford, batters 1, 2, and 3. 4, 5, and 6, Lily Piper, Laywood Day, and Emily Hotz. 7, 8, and 9, Susie Brookshire, Jada Kearney, and Briley Sinclair. Monarchs again the walk-off win last night. And with that, ending an 8-game losing streak. Overcame an early 3-0 deficit to win that game. And all the offense fueled by homers. 2-run home run, Susie Brookshire. 2-run bomb, also courtesy of Kelly Torres. And then Vanderford's heroics to end the game.
I feel like that's been the story of this season. It's just so many hard hit balls, so many home runs all around the league, especially the Texas Smoke. Man, they can swing it. And we've talked about this before, all 4 teams swinging professional bats, which means the ball definitely goes flying. We've seen so many balls just absolutely destroyed in this ballpark. But these hitters are so good at their craft. They're going to destroy pitches that are left over the white part of the plate and elevated.
0-2 to Sand, and looks at a ball up, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tough night last night for Sand, hitting the leadoff spot. Finished the game 1 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. It started tough, ended well. Had the leadoff base hit in the 7th inning, and later came home with a Vanderford home run. 1-2. Swung on, that's drilled to right center and down for a hit. Bounces off the bottom of the wall, and Sand starts her night with a double here in the bottom of the first inning.
Nice piece of hitting here from Kylie Sand. Doesn't try to do too much with it. Pitch right down the heart of the plate. Grace Chelleman out there in right field did not take a good angle to that ball. If she takes a deeper drop step, able to cut that off, Kylie Sand is likely going to have to hold up at first base. But because of the poor angle, now we're standing on second base as the Monarchs with a leadoff double.
And that is the first double of the series hit by the Monarchs. They hit a couple in their 3-game series last week against the Smoke. Now Devin Flaherty. It takes ball 1. Speaking of the Smoke, by their lofty standards, a fairly low-scoring game. Last night they beat Hub City 6-3 to open up that series.
We haven't seen a lot of close games between the Smoke and their opponents, but credit to the Adelitas for keeping it competitive. And
I know, Haley, you're curious, what is the winning streak up to now? 19 in a row.
Of course I was curious. That was my next question.
Yep, 19 straight. Opened up the year with 3 wins against the Monarchs, and then the Monarchs won the finale. And no losses since then. That was all the way back on June 23rd. Here we are now in August. No losses since then.
You know, you talk about winning 19 in a row, and of course that's impressive. But to me, what's honestly more impressive is the fact that the Smoke is able to continuously show up every single day and play to their level. It can be very easy to play down to your opponents if you are as talented as a team like the Smoke is. So the fact that the professional athletes just continue to show up and try to beat themselves every single day, kind of like what you were referencing with Trinity Cannon and her younger athletes earlier, you can never believe that the work is done. It's all about what can I do today to get better for tomorrow. Can't buy into the outcomes. You have to continue to trust the process, continue to put in the work, because that's where your confidence is built.
Count even to Devin Flaherty, 2-2. The hero from last night, Vanderford, waiting on deck. Rolls that one to the right side. A productive out will bring Sand to third base. And that's the first out of the inning.
Kind of having a carbon copy appearance here in the bottom of the first compared to the top of the first after the leadoff double. A productive 4-3 ground out also for the Monarchs. And now we're in the same situation here with Sarah Vanderford coming up to the plate.
Boy, again, Vanderford, an absolute bomb to win the game in walk-off fashion last night. Breaking a 4-4 tie to win it 7-4. And the first offering from Archer is low for ball 1.
You know, you talked about the adjustments that Kylie Sand made from the beginning of last night's game to the end of the game. Same thing with Sarah Vanderford and the Monarchs. Really struggled on the rise ball last night. Vanderford able to make the adjustment late in the game to walk it off. That's such an important lesson for younger athletes to learn, is the game will come back to you. If you struggle early in the game, it's your responsibility to find a way to stay tuned in and make the adjustment, because you never know when it's going to come up back around to you, and you might have a chance to tie the game or walk it off.
Well, here Vanderford lines out to the first baseman, Cannon. A hard shot right to Cannon's leather. Good pick just outside her belts. Good play by the former Aggie. Runner at third, 2 outs for Lily Piper. Now, we haven't seen every WPF game this year. There are games played in the Corpus area and the Lubbock area in addition to San Marcos. But that was the first ejection of a player we saw all season long when Piper was ejected in the 6th inning arguing balls and strikes.
Yeah, very abrupt, kind of quick ejection. Didn't appear to be a overzealous conversation from our viewpoint up here.
Ground ball in the inning, so both teams, Haley talked about the parallels in the first inning, get a runner to second, then to third with less than 2 outs, and neither can score. We head to the seconds, zeros on the board. You're watching the Tidal Wave and the Monarchs on the official WPF YouTube channel. Tough loss last night for Blake Miller's team. It ended a 2-game winning streak, a team that again has been playing well as of late. But the good news is, despite that loss, Coastal Bend cannot lose the season series against the Monarchs. They still lead it 6-2 with 3 games to go to include tonight. And so if the standings came down to a tiebreaker, it would be advantage Coastal Bend over the Monarchs.
Can always count on you to find the silver lining in the stats game.
Well, I would think, as a former athlete, you're always looking for silver linings, right? You have a tough night, but what did you do well?
That's fair, but I tried to avoid looking at stats as much as possible because I never wanted to get too bought into the outcomes. Because there's nights where you could have 3 singles that are all jam jobs, or you could have a night where you go 0 for 4 and absolutely hammer the ball right at people. So I tried to stay focused on the process as much as possible. Unless, of course, you hit a walk-off like Sarah Vanderford did, then you're probably going to feel pretty good about the outcome there.
Yeah, I know you've picked up on my love for numbers and stats, but what I really enjoy about them is the context behind them as well, because you're right. Not every 3 for 3 game, is identical to somebody else's.
Yeah.
3 for 3 could be 3 monster bombs to left or hard hit balls to the wall. Or it could be, 3 dribblers that just got under a glove or whatever the case may be. So stats are important only if you're able to give the context behind it.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's something that I really struggled with when I entered the college game as a freshman, because I was a perfectionist. I was that player that not necessarily cared about stats in the sense of I need to be the best on the team. That's not what I'm saying, but I wanted to be my best for the team. So going 3 for 3 was important to me because it gave the team a chance to win. But then I realized maybe I should focus more on what kind of quality of at-bats am I having, because I want to have more at-bats like that give me a chance to drive the ball, to score more runs. And that was something that head coach Ricky Woodard at Texas State really helped me with when I played, because it's not always about the results, because you can create momentum for your team in ways that don't reflect in a scorebook.
I feel like a lot of what we're describing right now is the plot of the movie Moneyball.
Yeah.
Right? Where you can't, in that movie, you couldn't replace the production from, Giambi and Damon and Isringhausen. So how do you do it? I forget what the term was Brad Pitt used, but it was all about getting on base.
Yeah.
Right? Not the batting averages, not the hits. Are they walking? Are they getting hit by pitches? Can they run the bases? That kind of thing.
Yeah, really incredible story. And the movie Moneyball does a great job of describing how the Oakland A's kind of revamped their team, because at the time that was super revolutionary in the game of baseball. It wasn't thought about to be played that way at all.
And of course, as we know, the two sports are very different, but also very similar in so many ways. So I think the concepts do translate pretty well to softball.
Yeah, definitely in terms of the percentages and the statistics side. The strategy, of course, is different with the speed and just the philosophies of the game. But anytime you have more people on base, you have more chances to score. It's pretty simple in that sense.
I just remembered the phrase Brad Pitt used, recreate them in the aggregate, which is such a Moneyball thing to say.
Yes.
Rather than Wiggins, ahead of ball to no strikes after the walk given up to Kelly Lynch. Fouls off that pitch. It's 1-1.
Now I need to watch Moneyball again.
It's so good.
It's such a great movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. If you're listening and you haven't watched it and you enjoy baseball or softball in the slightest, you will love it.
Two balls, one strike to the batter here, rather than Wiggins. Again, Lynch is on after the leadoff walk. Leadoff batter is on for his 2nd straight inning for the Tidal Wave. Both teams got the leadoff runner on, eventually to third base, but neither could score in the first.
Yeah, really frustrating for both coaches of these squads. Getting a runner to third with less than 2 outs, definitely need to find a way to push a run across there.
Sacrifice from Wiggins on the bunts. She's tagged out by Emily Hotz. And the sacrifice will move Lynch now to second base, 1 away in the inning in the scoreless game, and that's going to bring up Rock Benavidez, a player you know really well.
Yeah, so I actually met Rock Benavidez my freshman year of high school. We were both at a University of Arkansas camp together. And when I tell you that Rock Benavidez had one of the best gloves that I've ever seen, I am not exaggerating that. She's so talented defensively. We didn't end up going to Arkansas together. She ended up committing to Florida State. I committed to Arkansas. Neither of us finished our careers at those respective schools. Rock Benavidez transferring to the University of Houston to end her career, but such a talented athlete defensively, and as a local Corpus kid, really cool to get to see her play for the Tidal Wave out of her hometown.
You know, it's so interesting that you mentioned that the places that you and she committed to out of high school, not where you finished your careers. Again, so much is made about that decision. It's life-changing. You know, how are things going to be different for you? You know, going to an Arkansas or to a Florida State or University of Texas or Alabama, whatever the case may be. But now, in the age of the transfer portal, maybe it's not quite that, you know, as impactful as it once was.
The portal is definitely a factor, but I also think the rule change to waiting until you are older to commit has made a difference, because when I was getting recruited, as well as Rock Benavidez, I mean, if you didn't commit as a freshman in high school, maybe early fall of your sophomore year, you were considered late at a Division I Power 5 level, which looking back is just wild to say, because to think about at 16 where I wanted to go to school, I mean, I remember begging my mom to let me commit to Arkansas for my 16th birthday, because I knew at the time that that's where I wanted to go. But when you commit that early, there's so many things that can happen. You can have coaching changes, which is what's happened to me. You can decide that you want to study something different. Maybe your school doesn't offer that. You can decide, hey, I don't want to play anymore. That's an okay decision to make too. And your body can change so much in just those 2-3 years going into college. So I was glad to see the rule change. And you're right, with the portal, definitely less of a permanent decision, it feels like.
Third strikeout for Jaden Vickers. Gets Benavidez swinging. That's good for the second out here in the inning, and just blew that ball right by her. So runner at second base, 2 down. That's going to bring up Reagan Glanz from Aberdeen, Washington. That ball hit towards the second baseman, and an easy play made by Kylie Sand, and that's going to end the inning. So again, a leadoff batter reaches but can't score. We head to the bottom of the second inning. No score between the Tidal Wave and the Monarchs. We're back at Bobcat Softball Stadium after this. A big win last night for the Monarchs and acting head coach Tyler Gunnelson. With that win, they pulled to a half game within the Tidal Wave for second place in WPF standings. Talked about the first base coach. Last night it was Jaden Vickers. Tonight, Soda Halajan. Holojan was a winning pitcher last night for the Monarchs as she pitched the 7th and final inning. Laywood Day, first pitch of the second, grounds out to Benavidez. So one pitch and one out here for Haley Archer in the second inning in this scoreless game.
We talked about Rock Benavidez and her glove work when she was up to the plate last inning. There you see it on display. Kind of an in-betweener hop, but does a really nice job staying low, seeing the ball all the way into her glove. I need a pair of those shades that the Tidal Wave are rocking. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, you look at Rock Benavidez over at second base. Those are wraparound shades. It almost looks like ski sunglasses.
Yeah, if the sun can get through there, you've got some bigger issues. And
right.
As someone that's played on this field many times at this time of day, those sunglasses are super helpful over there on the right side of the infield because the sun is brutal over at first and second base.
So after hot reaches, that brings up Susie Brookshire. Brookshire hit one of the 3 homers for the Monarchs last night. And it came in the second. 1-0. Foul back right to the screen where Peter, our camera guy, was right there in position.
Oh, that made me jump. Looks like he's all good. I bet that ball looked huge in his camera lens.
It was like the camera was a magnet for the ball there. Look at this again. Look at the bottom of the screen. Right there, I think it maybe got the lens a little bit.
Luckily, he had the lens pointed off to the side. It didn't hit the front of the lens. Looks like he's checking it out, making sure it's still shooting as designed. My mom used to take photos of my travel ball team all growing up, and there were a couple times where, you know, you're down the line, you're looking through the lens, and ball's coming at you. It just looks massive.
Fly ball to center, handled by Ochoa. Has the grab for the second out. Did your mom's camera make it through your entire time playing travel ball?
Yeah, she never took a foul ball to the lens, but we always gave her a hard time about how dramatic she would run out of the way. And she's like, you don't understand. It looks so much bigger coming at me.
You know, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, during our coverage of college softball this year in St. Marcus, I think it was during a non-Texas State game, there was a foul ball hit, and it went right to one of our broadcast lenses and cracked it.
That's right. I think it was our tournament in the beginning of the season. That also happened. I was in Oklahoma City as a fan, and they have a cable cam hooked up between basically the home plate and kind of out beyond third base. And someone hit a foul ball and just nailed the cable camera. And you know that someone in the production room was telling their camera operator, you couldn't have gone the other way, man.
Yeah,
come on.
Right. No balls, 2 strikes. Archer ahead of Jada Kearney here. And still looking for her first strikeout. Again, a career high 96 this year at Cal. And more than 120 innings of work. 0-2. Doesn't get the call there. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Haley Archer wanted that one. Really tough pitch to take. Here's Jaden Vickers there. Or Jada Kearney, excuse me.
Riley St. Clair waits on deck. Emily Hott at first base. That's a miss that goes high this time. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Kearney. Saw the NFL preseason start last night. Texans and Bears. Well, Kearney's dad spent some time in the NFL himself. Played for both Pittsburgh and Green Bay. That's fouled away and rolls towards the dugout. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's just wild to me to think that we've started football season. This year it just feels like it's flown by.
Yeah.
Even this WPF season, I feel like we just started 2 weeks ago, and here we are closing in on what's about to be postseason in 2 weeks.
The first college football games will be played in 3 weeks.
Wild. I have no idea how Jada Kearney just fouled that off. I think if she didn't foul it off, it might have hit her.
I was wondering the same thing. The ball was high and tight and somehow managed to fight it off towards the opposing dugout.
Just really great hand-eye coordination kicking in there for Jada Kearney.
And the 2-2. And Kearney's worked herself out of an 0-2 hole to fill the count. Great power numbers this year for Kearney at Georgia. In her final year as a Bulldog, 20 home runs, drove in 53. Named a first-team All-American. Here swings and pokes a base hit to right. On her way to third base is hot. She's going to stand there. Good piece of two-out hitting opposite way by Kearney that puts runners on the corners.
Really great at bat from Jada Kearney. Haley Archer tried to throw everything at her. Tries to go inside, but we saw Jada Kearney foul off a ball that direction already once. Does it here again, but keeps it fair this time. Just kind of bloops it down to right field. Really nice base running by Emily Hott, too, to make it all the way over to third base easily.
During our broadcast last night, talked about all the birthdays for the Monarchs. Some players celebrating theirs recently. Kelly Torres earlier this week. Kylie Sand a couple of weeks ago. And for Jada Kearney, it was hers last night.
I don't know about you, but it feels like August, September, there's always a ton of birthdays that start to roll around.
Yeah, I seem to recall when we had our daughter, my wife was a teacher, so there was planning.
Ah.
9 months out, and it would be right when the school year starts, so my wife would then just get time off.
Yeah.
Why get it off? You're getting the summer off anyway.
Yeah, smart. Use your resources.
Exactly. The 9-hole hitter, Briley St. Clair, batting for the first time tonight. And takes a ball low. 2 balls and 1 strike to St. Clair. Speaking of last night's broadcast, you missed this nugget. We were talking about all the huge social media followings for some of these players. For St. Clair, an Instagram following of more than 160,000. TikTok more than 230,000.
It's crazy what social media has done for these athletes and how NIL has awarded them opportunities. Because just to put it in perspective for you, I don't have near the social media following that you just mentioned for someone like Briley St. Clair, but when I was in college, I couldn't even use my own social media to advertise that I was giving lessons to kids that were in my hometown. Now, if you have a social media following, think about all the brand deals, all the endorsements you could get. I mean, if I'm a company, I work in marketing full-time as my regular job as well, but we actively seek out content creators that we can partner with our target audience. What kind of content are they making? How can they help us reach Gen Z, for example? And so these athletes having that opportunity with NIL is a really cool thing, but it's very new and also a little bit scary sometimes in terms of what it's going to do to the landscape of college sports.
Well, after the walk given up by Archer to load up the bases, that'll lead to a quick visit from pitching coach Joe Marabito. Top of the order coming up here, and the bases again are juiced. And the last time that Sand faced Archer, doubled off of her in the first. And now facing her in the second with a chance to break the scoreless tie. Speaking of, big social media followings, I remember when NIL first became a thing. It was around 2021-ish. Haley Cruz, who you played against at Oregon, had a massive following as one of the first big NIL athletes out there.
Oh, yeah. It felt like it happened overnight, too, because the softball community, while it's large in the sense of played all over the country, all different levels of college, it still feels like a very small world. And so when the NIL craziness started to happen with Haley Cruz, I just remember, because that was my final year playing due to COVID, everyone was like, oh my gosh, look at what's happening. And it just kind of blew up from there. I also remember all the TikToks of Sabrina Ionescu on the March Madness tournament. I can't recall if that was pre-NIL or kind of at the same time, but it is wild what social media has done to bring awareness as a tool for good, but also in a negative way too.
Yeah.
It's got pros and cons like everything in life.
1 ball, 1 strike to Sand here. Bases juice and 2 outs. Nice take there by Sand. Count runs to 2-1. Look back at two-out hitting last night. Really good for the Monarchs. 4 for 10 with 2 outs. Runner at third base. Emily Hott. Kearney at second, and St. Clair at first. Swung on left field. That drifts foul to even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You mentioned how good the Monarchs were with 2 outs last night. It feels like throughout this slate of games that we've called here at Bobcat Softball Stadium, the team that hits the best with 2 outs has won the game. I would say 9 times out of 10, which makes sense when you think about it, right? But think about, as a defender, what it does to you when teams put up 1, 2, 3, 4 runs with 2 outs. That's so defeating, right? You're so close to getting out of the inning.
Sam with a ground ball, gloved at second base. Throw, is it in time? It is not. Benavidez' throw to Cannon, not in time. Sam with a base hit, drives in hot, and it is 1-0 Monarchs, the early lead.
Sand runs so well down the line. Good job by Benavidez just to get to this ball, but because it's to her glove side, she has to essentially turn her body all the way around, reset her feet to make a throw to first base. She was too far to flip it, and Sand just runs too well down the line, goes down as an RBI single.
And now the 7th batter of the inning here, Devin Flaherty, swings and fouls that one away. No balls and 1 strike. So Sam, a 2 for 2 start to her night and an RBI. And a 1-0 lead for the Monarchs. The base is still loaded now. You're going through the Instagram accounts. The first, I'm going through numerical down the roster for the Monarchs, so I come across Flaherty's before St. Clair's. Flaherty, 28,000 followers. Thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, which it is, to be fair.
That ball towards center, drops in for another hit. Kearney's going to score. Running third and coming to score behind her, and St. Clair is in. Did she score before the out at third base? She did. 2-run score. 3-0 Monarchs. Another big 2-out base hit. And what a way for the Monarchs to end the 2nd inning.
Good piece of hitting by Flaherty, driving the ball out into center field. Great job by Ochoa out in center. Heads up defensive play to cut down Kearney. St. Clair running into third for out number 3.
And with that, we go to the 3rd inning. 3-0 Monarchs on top of the tidal wave. Moments ago, a clutch 2-out, 2-run base hit for Devin Flaherty, bringing in a couple of runs to make it 3-0 Monarchs on top.
Devin Flaherty is just such a well-rounded athlete. We've talked about her defensive abilities so much throughout the season. Tonight, finding a way to come through in the clutch with 2 outs. Again, we talked about it. The team that scores the most with 2 outs so far this season has usually come away with a victory, and so far the Monarchs have 2 2 out runs on the board tonight. 3 total for the game.
After the flyout by Grace Chellerman brings up Malaysia Ochoa, so back to the top of the order here for Coastal Bend. Devin Flaherty, a tremendous career at Florida State. You look back at what she accomplished there. Flaherty, top 10 in FSU history in both games played and stolen bases. This year with the Seminoles, she hit .329, but the more impressive stat, talk about context, right? So you think about all the at-bats for a player who hit leadoff for most of the year. She struck out only 7 times.
So impressive. And so important as a leadoff hitter, because anytime you put the ball in play, put pressure on the defense, especially if you're someone that has speed, it just gives your team more opportunities to get something going.
You could, if you went through a month with only 7 strikeouts, that's really good.
Yeah.
She went the entire season that stretched into the Super Regionals this year.
It's just crazy. Such great hand-eye coordination, understanding of the strike zone. I mean, and you think about it, right?
Fly ball to right, well hit, and gone! Malaysia Ochoa gives one a ride. And the Tidal Wave are on the board on a solo homer off the bat of Malaysia Ochoa.
Malaysia Ochoa swinging the bat really well tonight. Singled her first time up. Now she said, I'm going to go a little bit further this time. Pitch down and in, fall almost in the left-handed batter's box, but just pulls her barrel inside the ball, gets enough on it to clear that right field wall.
A couple of years ago, 2023 season at Iowa State, at 12 homers that year, 7th most in Cyclones history. And the home run here cuts it to a 2-run lead, and for the Tidal Wave, that is their 2nd home run of the series. And now a 3-1 game. That ball lined to left. That's going to drop in for a hit for Tate Whitley. So some aggressive swinging here by the Tidal Wave. Back-to-back base hits, some back-to-back pitches.
We've talked about it all season long. Hitting is contagious. Tate Whitley coming up, ready to swing the bat. Gets a pitch over the heart of the plate. Easy single out into left field. I thought out of the box, she might try to take 2 on that, but good job by Jada Kearney hitting the cut, Flaherty at short to hold Whitley to a single.
Brings up Julie Jimenez, swing and a miss. Whitley takes off, throw down, tag down, got her. So Lily Piper missiles a throw to Flaherty, who covers the bag at second base for the caught stealing, and now there's 2 outs.
Great throw from Lily Piper, just puts it right on the money. Looks like Whitley just maybe got stuck on the slide a little bit. Had a really great jump, but just felt like when she went to slide, she didn't quite go anywhere.
And then Vanderford vacuums up a ground ball at third, takes care of Jimenez. So the Tidal Wave settle for the 1 run on the homer hit by Malaysia Ochoa. 3-1 game as we go to the bottom of inning number 3. You're watching the WPF on the official Women's Pro Fast Pitch YouTube channel. Let's take you back to the Malaysia Ochoa home run that got the Tidal Wave on the board. A pull side homer from Ochoa. And like this, the home run we saw last night from Vanderford, one she didn't miss.
Really impressive hand pat there from Ochoa. That pitch was almost in the left-handed batter's box. Be able to, one, drive that out of the park, and two, keep it fair. Super impressive at bat from Ochoa.
Malaysia Ochoa in the outfield along with Whitley and Chellerman. And now takes her position in center as we go to the bottom of the third in a 3-1 game. Vanderford, Piper, and Day, heart of the order batting here for the Monarchs. So talked about the win last night for both the Monarchs and the Smoke. With that, a look at the standings. Smoke, again, a sizable lead for first place that they have clinched. 22-1 their record. In second place, Coastal Bend, 12.5 games back. Vanderford with a pop-up to the right side. And just shy of foul territory, the catch is made by Benavidez. One pitch and Vanderford is out. So Coastal Bend is second place at 10-14. The Monarchs a half game back of them at 9-14. And then Hub City in fourth place at 6-18. Now those records don't sound great, right? All three teams sub 500. But we discussed this last night as well, Haley. You take the Smoke games out. Coastal Bend's 10-6. The Monarchs are 500, 8-8, and Hub City are more respectable, 6-10.
Yeah, when you take the Smoke out of the equation, this league as a whole has been very competitive. So I can't help but wonder, let's say you take all athletes that are in the WPF, kind of redraft, so to speak, split up the depth that the Smoke has across the league. It would make for even more competitive matchups, which as a viewer and as a fan would be a lot of fun for me to watch. Because while I love home runs and I love seeing just the complete dominance on display, I want to see those run-run games. I want to see the pitchers duel. I want to see the walk-off home runs. That's what keeps you coming back.
Now, that would be a fun exercise. You and I talked about fantasy teams a couple of weeks ago, or last week, I think it was. Piper jackknifes out of the way and takes the ball inside from Archer. Is if you and I played GM for each of us for two teams and then just, redrafted the entire league and built these rosters and see how much more the talent is spread out.
Yeah, and it would be really interesting to see, let's say, for example, you just shuffled the pitching around. What would that do? Ooh, that was close. Piper able to hold up on the check swing. Haley Archer wanted that call. But back to my point, if you just kind of reshuffle the pitchers, because we've talked about this, it feels like that's where the Achilles heel has been for teams that aren't the Smoke, the Tidal Wave, the Adelitas, the Monarchs. It's just been really tough to kind of lock down those major crooked number innings.
2-2 pitch. Piper with a flying ball to right center, and that's going to drop. Bounces off the wall. Ochoa fields, turns, and throws it back to the infield. Piper with a double with one out here in the third inning, and with that check swing call looking really big right now.
Really good point. Lily Piper hammers this ball. Gets a pitch down on the inside corner. Not a bad location from Haley Archer at all, but that ball got to the wall in such a hurry. You could hear it. It just sounded different coming off the bat of Lily Piper. If Ochoa didn't have to turn all the way around, she might have had a chance to throw out Piper at second.
Now Laywood Day with a ground ball to the left side. A backhand from Wiggins. Throw to first is on target. And now 2 outs. Great job by Wiggins to field that ball because it kept Piper at second base.
Yeah, really good point. Wiggins goes super deep in the hole. Look how she sets her body up to have momentum and avoid having to take an extra step to throw out Day over at first base. Not an easy play by any means, but to be able to make a strong throw, a strong enough throw to keep Piper at second is huge in that situation.
Emily Hott looks at a strike, pumped in by Haley Archer. Again, the starting pitcher tonight for the Tidal Wave. Talked about her time at Cal, 4 seasons with the Golden Bears, won 35 games, and had close to 300 career strikeouts. Tonight, though, playing without her former Cal teammate at short, Tatum Monzaldo. A late scratch in this game. Those two spent a lot of time together in Berkeley. Both hold a lot of admiration for one another. They were thrilled to be signed to the same franchise in the WPF as well. That's fouled off of Haught's foot, strike 2. So tough for Archer's ex-college teammate not to be out there, but it was, again, Wiggins in the place of Gonzalo Short that just made that play.
Yeah, a lot of depth on this Tidal Wave team. No worries, I'm sure, for these athletes when Wiggins had to step in, that she could get the job done. But you're right, as a pitcher, when you're used to having a former teammate kind of in your ear behind you at shortstop, that can be an adjustment. Because as a college athlete, you get so close to your teammates and you have such special relationships, and just the little things really can make a difference for you. We talked about routines before during the season on our broadcasts, and sometimes what you say to your teammates is part of that routine. So such a late change doesn't seem to be affecting Haley Archer here, but you just never know what goes through a pitcher's head and, you know, how they rely on their teammates, especially when you've played so much time with someone in college.
Full count to Emily Hott, who was hit by a pitch by Archer back in the second. And later scored on the infield single from Kylie Sand. Monarchs had some big 2-out hits in the second. 2 outs with Hott batting here in the third. Full count, Hott grounds that one foul. Emily Hott played her college softball at Baylor, grew up in Edmond, Oklahoma, where she was a top 50 recruit in the country playing at Deer Creek High School. Ground ball, and it's scooped up by Benavidez. Haley talked about her defense early in the game, a good example of it right there, and that's going to end the inning. So a double from Lily Piper, but stays at second base. 3 innings in the books. It's a 3-1 lead for the Monarchs over Coastal Bend. And back out in San Marcos, Brain Freeman, alongside former Division I player Haley McKay. Glad to have you with us on this Friday night. 3-1 game, Monarchs on top of the Coastal Bend Tidal Wave as we go to the top of the 4th inning. Only run of the game for the Tidal Wave, courtesy of a Malaysia Ochoa home run in the 3rd. Meanwhile, the Monarchs got 3 2-run outs in the 2nd inning. The big hit, a 2-run single from Devin Flaherty. And right now, that base hit the difference in the game. Three hits for the Tidal Wave, 5 for the Monarchs so far. No errors for either team. A look into that Monarch dugout, and again without head coach Candace Fitton-Bachbrader. All our best to her and her family. She deals with an emergency right now. Count 0-2 here to the leadoff batter, Trinity Cannon.
Doesn't appear that Trinity Cannon is seeing the ball all that well tonight. Struck out looking in her first at bat on a pitch right down the heart of the plate. Was attacking early, but just feels like she's not quite picking up that outer part of the zone.
Hey, congratulations, by the way, to Cannon. Got engaged earlier this summer to her now fiance, Joshua Bankhead.
I love that.
Seems kind of fairy tale a little bit, right? You wrap up a tremendous college career. You sign on to play pro softball, extend your career with the game that you love, and then you get engaged, all in one summer.
Yeah, it's wild. I was actually thinking when you mentioned her getting engaged, you know, it seems like a lot of times now people are getting engaged a little bit later, but you still have those fairy tale stories, for lack of a better word. It kind of seems like, you know, it's silly, but the board game of life comes to mind. You know, you go to college, you graduate, you get married, start having kids, all those things. It's a lot of life happening in one summer. It can be a really big adjustment coming out of college, period. You know, you're used to being an athlete surrounded by all your friends. That feels like a family.
Flaherty charges and throws low to hot in time for the outs, and one away here in the fourth inning.
Trinity Cannon gets really jammed up on this pitch from Jaden Vickers, going inside to her. Another one where if Cannon doesn't make contact with that ball likely hits her in the batter's box, able to just get it in play somehow. But again, just not seeing the ball real well, it appears, taking pitches that you probably should be attacking and swinging at pitches like that.
Nobody on, one away for Kelly Lynch. Lashes the first pitch foul for strike one. Talked about at the start of the game, really hot Friday night, 95 degrees, but the sun now slowly setting. We've hit 8 o'clock now. You look at the field, and a lot of it now covered in shadows. That's always a good sign, right? The sun, again, starting to kind of weigh down a little bit, alleviate some of that heat. That's in there, 0-2. And the two players, I'm sure, are most happy about that right now. Jaden Vickers in the circle, Lily Piper behind the plate.
For me, if I was in black at all as a uniform on this field period, I'd be happy that the sun's going down because all black is definitely toasty.
Nice play, second made by Sand for the second out.
I've seen so many really solid defensive plays on difficult short hops. Kylie Sand showing off the glove work here. Makes a decision to go and attack this on the short hop to avoid that ball eating her up. You hear the saying, play the ball, don't let it play you, and that's exactly what we've seen middle infielders and third baseman Sarah Vanderford do all night long here tonight.
Something that Vickers has done a really good job of outside of the home run given up to Ochoa. She's kept the ball down. You look at the outs she's recorded so far, and the majority of them have been ground ball outs.
Yeah, really good point, and that's something that we've seen pitchers struggle with in this league throughout the season. These hitters are too good to leave the ball up, and especially up and over the plate. Even a ball elevated that's maybe half a ball on, it's going to get hard. These hitters know how to drive the ball when it's elevated. So Vickers has done a really nice job of, one, hitting her spots on the corners, but like you said, keeping the ball down, or honestly jamming up a lot of these hitters as well.
2 balls, 1 strike here to Rylan Wiggins from Wiley, Texas.
The other thing that's worked well for Vickers is because she's a lefty, as a right-handed hitter, you don't see a lot of pitchers that attack inside, throwing that curveball. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these hitters get jammed up on that pitch, because you don't see it much. Typically, if you're a lefty attacking a right-handed hitter, you're going to stay away from them. So we've seen hitters try to attack that pitch, but then with 2 strikes, you have to work and foul off the inner half. And Vickers has done a good job of not only getting it in, but getting it up and in. And we haven't seen the tidal wave make the adjustments to drive that ball.
Drilled deep to right and way gone for Rylan Wiggins. Well, Vickers couldn't keep the ball down there, and Wiggins takes advantage, and this is a 1-run game.
That was a jaw-dropping bomb for me. Rylan Wiggins, my goodness. We were just talking about it, ball down. This one waist high, again, out over the heart of the plate, and Rylan Wiggins does not miss it. I mean, she almost hit the Texas flagpole out there in right field.
This year with the Aggies, hit 11 home runs at Texas A&M. And her first homer of this series. Now a one-run game. We saw the Tidal Wave jump out to 3-0 lead last night. Monarchs came back to win. Well, Texas getting the early 3-0 lead tonight, and now it's the Tidal Wave crawling back into the game. A couple of solo homers. Ochoa, now Wiggins. Rock Benavidez looks at a pitch, blown away for ball one. You heard Haley and I talk about the career journey for Benavidez, starting at Florida State, ended her career at Houston. Was in Tallahassee for only 2 years, but one of those years won a national championship in 2018.
And just think about the experience that being a part of a national championship squad in any role, because you don't win a national championship without every single person on your roster. There's too many places where you can add value as a starter and as a non-starter, regardless of the role that you play on your team. So for Benavidez to be able to take that championship experience with her to Houston, I can only imagine the kind of leadership opportunities she was able to share with her teammates after playing in the postseason and playing in the postseason at such a high level.
And one of her teammates of Florida State, also the WPF, Elizabeth Mason, playing with the Smoke, winning a title together in Tallahassee. Benavidez here draws a walk on 4 pitches. And now the tying run is on here with 2 outs.
After giving up the home run to Wiggins with 2 outs, you don't want to come back to the next hitter and walk her. We've talked about it. 2-out runs have been the difference maker all season long, and you're seeing that on both sides right now. 2-out home run, getting the Tidal Wave back in this ball game. 2-out single from Devin Flaherty to put the Monarchs on top earlier.
Vickers with some glove taps with her teammates, going back to work here. A brief conversation with Tyler Gunnelson. So gives up the home run and then a walk on 4 pitches after she got the first 2 batters out. Maybe just trying to settle her down a bit. Reagan Glanz now to the plate. 1 year at Marshall. That was this season, 2024. Before that was a 4-time first-team All-Conference player, Division II, Francis Marion.
It's been really special to see so many players in this league with so many different journeys. We talked about how well Cassie Valdez threw last night. Started out at Texas State, then transferred to Our Lady of the Lake and NAI University, had a phenomenal career. Here she is playing professionally with the Tidal Wave. Reagan Glanz going from a D2 to a D1, also playing professionally. You got Power 5 athletes like conferences from the ACC, the SEC. The sport has grown so much at every level, whether it's pre-college or in college. So really cool to see them all end up here professionally together.
Talked about a lot of the use of social media for Reagan Glanz. Uses her Instagram account for instructional videos. Tips, very valuable for young players, to check that out. Talks a lot about the catching position. That's fouled away. You can find her account by going on to Instagram and looking for Reagan, spelled R-E-A-G-A-I-N, Reagan's, ending with a Z, and the number 1.
Nice
so
little wordplay
basically
there.
regains 1.
Love it. Get your gains with Reagan.
There you go.
I love seeing athletes give back to the sport, and that's something that I don't get the opportunity to play anymore like these athletes, but it's really special to continue to give back to the game, whether it's doing this, broadcasting with you, Brant, or coaching, because I would not be where I am without the opportunities that softball awarded me. So it just kind of feels right to be able to give back to the sport. And I don't want to speak for these athletes, but I would imagine a lot of them share that same sentiment, because when you play at such a high level for so long and you look back at how much softball is woven throughout all elements of your life. It's really special.
Popped up, should end the inning, and it does on the catch made by Emily Hott. But again, for the tidal wave, Haley, back of the board with a home run courtesy of Rylan Wiggins.
We talked about the importance of keeping the ball down in the zone. Rylan Wiggins takes advantage of the mistake off of Jaden Wickers trying to hit that Texas foul pole out there in right field to bring the tidal wave back into this game, 3-2.
Haley Archer back in the circle, getting ready for her 4th inning of work tonight. Gave up 3 runs in the 2nd inning, but none in the 1st or in the 3rd. So far, her night tonight, Haley Archer through 3 innings and 3 runs given up off 5 hits, no strikeouts and a walk. And she'll face the bottom third of the order here in the 4th with her team trailing by a run. Again, the tidal wave cut the lead in half from down 2 to down 1, courtesy of a 2-out solo homer hit by the shortstop, Rylan Wiggins. One of 2 home runs of the day for the tidal wave as Brookshire looks at a pitch up, 2-0. So for the tidal wave, they are now up to 3 homers in the series. The same number for the Monarchs. All 3 of theirs came in last night's series opener. 2-0 to Brookshire, who's got a really good bat in her hands. We've seen her power on display for a veteran player. We've talked a lot about her history. 3 different college stops. Long Beach State, San Jose State, Sacramento State. International play as well for Team Mexico, who she has played for over the last 7 years. A take all the way and takes ball 4. So you play this game enough, Haley, and some scary things will happen to you. For Brookshire, a couple of years ago, she was hit by a pitch in the face. It broke her cheekbone and a couple of teeth as well.
It's so scary to me when that happens because it can happen off of the pitcher, but you could also foul a ball into your face. So I'm shocked that Brookshire doesn't wear the full face guard. To be honest, I'm shocked why any athlete at any level wouldn't, because it's just, it's an accident that can always happen, and you don't want to think about the what ifs. But I mean, even base running, you know, an errant throw into the face, a glove into the face. But some athletes feel like they can't see as well with the mask, so to each their own. But very scary injury for Brookshire.
After the leadoff walk, Jada Kearney grounds one back to Archer, to Wiggins, but it goes off her glove, and Brookshire is safe. So Archer had the right idea, but his throw was too low, and now there's 2 on with nobody out.
It looked like Haley Archer was waiting on Rylan Wiggins to come over to the bag. She was there in plenty of time, and Brookshire actually kicks that ball right out of Rylan Wiggins' glove. Lucky break for the Monarchs. Really nothing you can do there if you're Rylan Wiggins. The throw just took her right into where Brookshire's foot was at.
And you can see right now Blake Miller and the Coastal Bend staff, they are arguing about exactly that she kicked the ball out of her glove.
I think he's arguing that it was on the transfer also, possibly, because he looks like he's motioning right here. She caught it and then went to pull it out of her glove. But to me, it looked like Wiggins never really had the ball secured.
So you get one look at it there from behind the play. Here it is in front of it.
To me, while even slowed down, the ball is in her glove for such a short period of time. And Rylan Wiggins never made a motion with the ball in her glove to bring it back up. So I understand the argument of she caught it first and then it was kicked out. But in my opinion, you have to maintain control of the ball for it to be an out, right? To secure the out, not tag the runner per se because it's a force out, but to be able to secure it all the way through. And it just didn't look like even slowed down that Rylan Wiggins was able to do that.
Could this be an issue of runner's interference?
No, because Brookshire is just trying to go into the bag, and as an athlete, you're just trying to slide and get your foot down to be safe. I didn't see anything on that replay where it looked like Brookshire deliberately tried to kick the ball out of her glove.
And what you're saying as well is that because she didn't have the ball long enough and wasn't able to bring the glove back, that does not constitute as a swipe and an out before a transfer can be made.
Typically, when you see an athlete lose it on the transfer, they're making a motion to go throw. Doesn't look like the Tidal Wave coaches are happy with this conversation. It was just such a bang-bang play of ball in the glove, ball out of the glove. This is where I wish we had replay so the umpires could take another look at this.
Well, Blake Miller definitely not in agreement with the call made by the crew here. Let's take one more look at this again.
Oof, it's so close. To me, it looks like she almost traps it on the ground there.
Yeah, that's a great look at that right there. Yeah, you see it kind of trying to trap into the dirt on that low throw. Either way, a tough break there for Coastal Bend, because really when the ball came off the bat, you thought about the potential for a double play.
Yeah.
But because the throw from Archer was so low, the Wiggins was forced to maybe try and trap that throw, and not only do you not get 2, you don't get 1 in that case.
Yeah, and again, I understand the argument from head coach Blake Miller, but it was just such a tough call for the umpires to make in real time. And like I said, it's not a traditional transfer situation, right? She's trying to catch and then pull up to avoid losing the ball, but it gets kicked out. So very, very unique play.
And it was bang, bang as well. Like almost the moment that the ball got to Wiggins' glove was when Brookshire put her foot out. So as you said, nothing deliberate on the part of Brookshire to try to kick the ball away. And not only did Wiggins not have the ball long enough, she may have not had it at all. Not enough anyway, so it looked like she may have trapped it in the dirt.
If that ball had stayed in the glove of Wiggins, for her to just be able to even lift her glove a little bit to signal to the umpire like, hey, I caught it, I think she would have been called out. Because she had the ball on the foot of Brookshire. Brookshire slid right into it. But because she didn't maintain control of the ball all the way through, I understand why the umpires didn't call it a recorded out.
And now Reagan Glanz talking to Archer here. Maybe making sure they have the signs. the correct ones here with now a runner at second base, and Kearney, a different runner than Brookshire. And even though that was a strike to Sand, that maybe was a mix-up in signs there moments ago.
Kearney at second also could have been tipping off Sand at the plate of what was coming. Picked up on the signals.
No balls, one strike. On the outer half, strike two.
Didn't see Kearney signal anything into Sand at the plate there, so if the signs were changed, definitely was effective for the tidal wave, as Kearney didn't know what was coming.
After the sacrifice from St. Clair, runners second to third, one away. On the ground, that shoots foul. Already a really productive night for Kylie Sand, a double back in the first, an RBI infield single in the second inning. And try to add to this 3-2 lead. Following some controversy moments ago on a ground ball in the infield. 0-2 to Sand. Fights off another one.
Kylie Sand has been such a tough out all night long, really productive at bats. Really good spot to be in the order for the Monarchs right now, with both Sand at the plate and Flaherty on deck. Have delivered most of their production thus far tonight.
Devin Flaherty, as Haley said, waits on deck. After that, Sarah Vanderford. Big moment here for Archer. She's got the lead 0-2. And that's a miss high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Archer facing off against Kylie Sand from Norco, California. 3 years at Rutgers, 1 year prior to that at Louisiana. One of the greatest hitters in Scarlet Knight program history. Hit better than .410 in her final year with Rutgers this year. 1-2 on the ground to the right side, and the tag of Sand is made by Cannon. And neither runner advances. A perfect play there for Coastal Bend.
This is just absolutely textbook by Trinity Cannon over at first base. Good job by Sand to try to hit something on the ground to the right side. Trinity Cannon never taking her eye off of the runner over at third base, able to apply the tag, secure it, not let Sand knock that ball out of her glove, and keep the Monarchs at second and third.
And now the Monarchs will bring in a pinch runner second base. Jada Kearney into the dugout. Sarah Fessler will now pinch run at second. And here comes Devin Flaherty. Already a clutch 2-out hit in this game. It came back in the second, and it drove in 2 runs. And now facing Archer for a third time. Last night we saw Cassie Valdez go the distance for the tidal wave. They have yet to make a pitching change in the series, although there is activity right now in that tidal wave bullpen. 1 ball, no strikes to Flaherty. It appears Kelly Lynch, the DP, is getting loose. Kind of wild to think, by the way, you got Cal in the circle, Archer, the Cal Golden Bears, Flaherty at the plate, Florida State. Those 2 schools are now conference rivals, so to speak, both in the ACC.
And they couldn't be geographically further from one
More
another.
apart. Now, first base is open. However, the player waiting on deck is Vanderford. Wouldn't think that Archer's pitching around Flaherty here. Does she get the green light on 3-0? She doesn't, and draws a 4-pitch walk. Now I wonder, with Lynch getting loose in the bullpen and Vanderford about to face Archer for a third time, does a change come now for Coastal Bend?
I'm wondering the same, but I think that the tidal wave are going to take their chances with Vanderford, who hasn't had success so far against Haley Archer. She lined out to first in her first at bat and flew out to second in her second at bat. Neither was very hard contact, so they're going to take their chances here. Although now Archer behind in the count, 1 ball and no strikes to Vanderford. Have to be really careful that you don't leave something too sweet and too elevated over the plate.
One ball, no strikes in the dirt, blocked by Glanz. 2-0. Well, you got a huge moment coming up right now as Archer struggling to throw strikes. If there's anything near the strike zone of this next pitch, you would think Vanderford's going to jump all over it.
I actually wonder if she's going to take until she gets a strike, because now Archer's thrown 6 straight balls. You're in a hitter's count. She hasn't proven she can come to you back to back.
She does swing and lashes that one foul.
She was on your team, not mine.
Yeah.
I like the aggressiveness, though. You can't go wrong with either approach. You just have to make sure if you're going to attack something over the plate that you don't miss it, right? If a pitcher has thrown you 6 straight balls and you swing at a pitch and you don't foul it off hard the way that Vanderford just did, or put it in play hard, it doesn't give your team any momentum.
Two-one pitch. Vanderford takes it high, 3-1. A 1-run game. Bases are loaded here with 2 outs. And again, the infield and the catcher Glanz going to visit here with Archer.
You know Vanderford now in this count is looking to drive something if it's over the heart of the plate. 2-1 and 3-1 were my absolute favorite counts as a hitter to be aggressive in.
2-1 more so than 2-0?
Yeah, in a weird way, because I feel like I'd already either fouled off a pitch or seen something that was called a strike. Later in the game, if you've seen a pitcher 3-4 times and you get into a 2-0 count, I would feel a little bit more comfortable per se, but it also depends on the situation, like I was talking about. If the 2-0 pitch is a result of 6 or 7 straight balls, then that changes your approach. There's so many little nuances as a hitter that you can play with the pitcher against, and depends on the situation, depends on what part of the game you're at. Are you up in the game? Are you down?
And that's going to drive in a run. Vanderford draws a walk to bring home a run. Brookshire's going to score. 4-2 lead, and that's going to be it for Haley Archer.
Archer very frustrated, understandably so. Didn't miss by much there, but no pitcher wants to give up a bases-loaded walk for an RBI. And now Kelly Lynch is going to come in to a difficult situation. No other choice here other than to go right at Lily Piper, who absolutely hammered a double off the wall in her last at-bat to right center field.
And so again, that's it for Haley Archer. She goes 3 2/3. The issue, the walks for them, no strikeouts through 77 pitches. And to this point, it's given up 4 earned runs. Now hands the ball off to the former LSU Tiger, before that Washington Husky, Kelly Lynch. This year at LSU, second team All-SEC, a tremendous two-way player, but in the circle specifically, 9-3 her record, sub-3 ERA, 2.70, 95 strikeouts this year, through 6 complete game shutouts. And when you play a majority of your games in the SEC, that is not an easy task. Also, to her credit, a no-hitter in the SEC against Auburn.
Some impressive stats. We talked about the context behind those stats too. Again, you said it, the SEC shutout victories are few and far between. So really impressive numbers from Kelly Lynch. I love two-way players too. I feel like they're making a comeback in the game. And when I was playing in college, there weren't that many. So it's really fun to see hitting pitchers come back, be more common. Gives younger girls, I think, hope that watch, hey, I can pitch and I can hit too.
Well, Lynch has got quite the situation to get out of here. Bases loaded. 4-2 game. Her team trailing by 2. And out of the plate, Lily Piper, who, as Haley described, belted a double her last time up. There's Vanderford at first base. Over at second base, Devin Flaherty. And awaiting at third, Briley St. Clair. Or I beg your pardon, that's Sarah Fessler over at third base.
Sarah Fessler looking pretty loose over there at third base. Enjoying the moment.
First pitch is up in the eyes for ball one.
If I'm a hitter coming into this situation, bases loaded, my approach here would probably be to take until I get a strike. Make sure that you give your teammates an opportunity to get their timing down against Kelly Lynch also, and force her to come to you, right? There's no reason to chase. There's nowhere to put you. She's got to come to you at the plate. And now Kelly Lynch behind 2-0. We'll see if Lily Piper decides to be aggressive here if given the opportunity.
2-0 pitch. Really tight strike zone right now, 3-0. And there is no way Piper's swinging at the next pitch. No way, right?
I would hope so. Crazier things have happened.
Yeah, she doesn't. Wisely keeps that bat on her shoulder. Ball four. That'll bring home Fessler a 5-2 lead. And you look at the way the offense has come this inning for the Monarchs, Haley. No hits, but now they've drawn 4 walks.
Yeah, nothing that the Monarchs have scored this inning has truly been earned. Too many free passes.
Laywood Day is swing and a miss. Kind of surprising to see Day swinging after a 4-pitch walk to Piper.
Yeah, if I was a coach in that situation, I'd probably be a little bit disappointed with the approach. If you're going to swing after 4 straight balls, needs to be something that you can absolutely hammer. But that swing didn't look very confident to me from Laywood Day at all.
1 ball, 1 strike today. Out of Fairfield, California, playing at Sacramento State. Grounded foul, falls behind 1-2. The co-Big Sky Player of the Year. And the all-time Big Sky leader in home runs, 61 in her 5 years as a Hornet. Has homered against Coastal Bend this year as well. That was an inside the park home run back in Robstown. Eighth batter of the inning, and again, no hit so far for the Monarchs. Walks for Brookshire, Flaherty, Vanderford, and Piper. Throw in a controversial fielder's choice play, and 2 runs have scored in the inning. Well, how big is that looking right now?
I was just thinking that play feels like so long ago.
It does.
But it really kind of set the tone to put the tidal wave on their heels.
Well, what a take there by Day. Fills the count at 3-2.
Really good at bat from Day. If she can put something in the gap here, runners will be in motion on the pitch. Could easily clear the bases. Very interesting time to call a timeout.
It's called by the Monarchs to bring in a pinch runner. So Kylie Sands going to pinch run here for Piper.
When you think about the situation, though, full count, 2 outs, runners in motion, trying to get a little bit more speed in there in the event that Day is able to put a ball in the gap.
A chance for Day to break this game wide open. Full count from Lynch. Hit out of play by Day. If the Monarchs can find a way to win this game, they would overtake the tidal wave for second place in the WPF. Coming into the night, a half game back. Full count. Day swings and misses and strikes out. So Lynch, a big pitch, but the Monarchs scored twice in the inning on a couple of bases loaded walks. Bidet strikes out to end the frame, and with that, 4 frames in the books. We head to the 5th, 5-2, Monarchs on top. A look at the stands here at Bobcat Softball Stadium as we head to the 5th inning in a 5-2 game. Monarchs on top. Coastal Bend and Monarch fans alike taking in some Friday night softball. Again, temperatures at night start 95 degrees. Also some Bobcat fans here as well, perhaps to watch Sarah Vanderford play. The ex-Texas State Bobcat drove in a run in the bottom of the 4th inning on an RBI walk. Couple of runs scoring for the Monarchs in the 4th has made this a 3-run lead for Jaden Vickers, now in the circle for her 5th inning tonight. Leadoff batter is Grace Chelleman. We'll also see Malaysia Ochoa and Tate Whitley here in the 5th inning. One ball, one strike. That's inside at Chelleman. Turns the count to 2-1. Chelleman from Woodhaven, Michigan. Spent the majority of her college career at Marshall. Really standout career for her with the Thundering Herd. 162 games at Marshall. A career .336 hitter, drove in 93. Well, I love the armband, too, she's got there. You've heard the Marshall slogan, "We are." That's what it says.
Love it. We talked about the routines, those small things that you say to yourself. Giving a ode to her college program as well. Making sure she represents them on the professional stage.
A lot of times you'll see the player name or you'll see just the team name, Texas A&M or Aggies, etc. You were a Bobcat. Imagine if yours said "Eat 'em up."
Oh, I would love that.
Right? Swing and a miss, and Chelleman strikes out.
Great pitch from Jaden Vickers. Had to work herself back into that at bat against Grace Chelleman. This one looked like it maybe had a little bit of extra juice on it. Just blew it right by her. Nice pitch and nice battle from Jaden Vickers.
That's her 4th strikeout, 1 away here in the 5th inning, protecting this 3-run lead. And now Malaysia Ochoa. She's had a really impressive night, 2 for 2 with a home run. Hitting out of the leadoff spot and looks at a pitch up for ball 1. She was a leadoff hitter for Iowa State all year long this year. Well, she knew how to get on base, too. Led the team in walks and also set an Iowa State record, getting hit by a pitch 31 times.
It's impressive. Willing to take one for the team, quite literally. Another really great swing off the bat of Malaysia Ochoa. Understanding the fact that she hammered a ball on the inside part of the plate, decided to attack the outside half in this at-bat here. Hit it really well, but nice play by Bradley St. Clair out in center field to haul it in for Jaden Vickers.
How many times are you hit by a pitch in your career? Do you know the number or close to it?
Oh, I was hardly ever hit by a pitch. One, because I never crowded the plate. But two, every time I said I haven't been hit by a pitch in a while, then I got hit,
Yeah.
of course. I mean, I would say under 10 times
And her,
for sure.
for one season, 31.
Yeah, that was never me. I truly think it was probably less than 10 times in my entire career.
Tate Whitley 1 for 2 with a single. And here look to the pitch on the outer half, and a call strike by our plate umpire, Whitney Fullview. And Vickers so far, strong work here in the 5th inning. 2 up, 2 down, and ahead against Whitley, nothing in 2. Ground ball to Piper at first base, or beg your pardon, Emily Hott. She makes the play to end the inning, and that the first 1-2-3 frame of the night for Jaden Vickers. We are quickly heading into the bottom of the 5th inning. It's 5-2 Monarchs on top of Coastal Bend here in San Marcos. We were discussing gear earlier in the arm guard for Grace Chellerman. Check out the towel that Kelly Lynch is using to keep her hands dry. That Powerade towel, it looks like something you would lay out on the beach. That thing is massive.
It's so large, she's got it tucked through her belt to make sure it doesn't fall out. I'm a little surprised the umpire didn't call time and make her go to a smaller one or remove it, because sometimes you'll see when pitchers open up and come around, if the towel whips around behind their throwing arm. But it doesn't appear to be getting in the way from our vantage point up here in the booth watching her throw. It is pretty far to that left hip, so.
My goodness. That towel is aged a bit as well. You see a lot of wear and tear off that. The type of towel you use to give the dogs a bath down the road someday.
It takes what it takes. As a pitcher, you got to have what you need. And I know you never played softball, you've been around it a lot, but you don't mess with the pitcher's routine. If the pitcher says, I need this towel, you give him that towel and you let it ride.
I'll take your word for it. Emily Hott leading off here in the bottom of the 5th inning. On that appeal, she was able to check her swing. It's Emily Hott, Susie Brookshire, and Jada Kearney due to bat for the Monarchs in the 5th. Trying to go up 2-0 in the series. Winning the opener last night in walk-off fashion, 7-4. Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. Avenging some demons, so to speak, last night. The Tidal Wave have had the Monarchs' number. Coming into the series, they had won 6 of the 7 games. But again, talk about context, right? Behind numbers. A lot of those games, though, really could have gone either way. All really close.
Yeah, the Monarchs and the Tidal Wave are both very evenly matched. Feels like all of their matchups thus far have really come down to who's gotten that clutch hit or made the clutch play.
Emily Hott to the shortstop, Wiggins. And 1 out here in the 5th. And with that, Hott's 0 for 2.
Man, Wiggins just has such a quick snap transfer throw. Had to kind of sit on that ground ball a little bit, make sure it didn't take a funky hop at the end. But she just transfers so quickly over there at shortstop.
Nobody on, 1 away for Susie Brookshire, who takes strike 1. discussed all those college stops for Brookshire, her final one, Long Beach State, in that final college year, 2021, which I believe was your final year as well, Haley. Top 10 of the country that year in RBI, 49 of them for Brookshire that season.
That's almost won a game.
Fly ball hit out towards center. It's got some carry, but not enough. And the catch made by Ochoa in front of the track. 2 up and 2 down for Lynch here in the 5th.
Kelly Lynch doing a much better job working from ahead in this inning, settling in really nicely. Of course, much easier to do, obviously, with no traffic on the bases. But she's also mixed in her off speed as well. Started Susie Brookshire off with it in that at-bat, located it well, then went back to her hard stuff. Anytime you can show that as a pitcher, it just messes with the timing of the hitters. Even if you don't throw it for a strike, having that in the back of a hitter's mind of, hey, she might change speeds here, really helps set up the rest of your pitches.
Now to the plate, Jada Kearney. No balls and a strike. The other game happening tonight up in Lubbock between Hub City and the Texas Smoke. Don't have a score update, but can tell you per the Smoke's Twitter account, they have again hit back-to-back-to-back home runs. And looking at the pictures, I believe Savannah Jaquish, Jada Cody, and Charla Eccles, the ones doing it.
I've seen this movie before.
They are unbelievable, man. That series being played at Lubbock Christian High School this weekend. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Kearney, and with a fly ball that drifts out of play, this at-bat's going to continue.
You know, I would love to know the reasoning for having teams in both Lubbock and Corpus, or Robstown, rather. Because for those that aren't familiar with Texas, it's massive. I mean, that's like a 10-hour drive, especially on a bus, from Robstown to Lubbock.
You know, I know that we're biased a bit, but I almost wonder with 2 teams, half the league headquartered here, why not have all 4 teams headquartered in Central Texas?
Or maybe, you know, something like Waco or San Antonio for
Right.
the other 2. Like, that would just significantly condense the travel time.
Yeah.
And no shade to Lubbock, but it's not the top tourist destination of Texas either. It's way out there, it's far, and
Really far, really hard to get to.
yeah.
Yep. If you look just at the I-35 corridor, San Antonio, San Marcos, Austin, and you know maybe Waco's still a little far in terms of San Antonio as Kearney strikes out. Maybe go Round Rock and have them all centrally located. Just throwing it out there. Meanwhile, Kelly Lynch with a 1-2-3 5th inning strikes out Jada Kearney, and we go to the 6th. It's the Monarchs 5 and the Coastal Bend Tidal Wave 2. You're watching the WPF on the official YouTube channel. We're back after this. We head to the top of the 6th inning. Coastal Bend down to his final 6 outs, trailing by 3, a 5-2 lead for the Monarchs, trying to go up 2-0 in the series and take back over second place in the WPF standings. And again, looking at a potential postseason, which would seed all 4 teams, you're looking at a strong possibility as that ball is lifted in the air to left, and it is gone. How about that? It is Tatum Onzondo off the bench, a late scratch out of the starting lineup into the game for the first time, and bangs out a home run.
We talked about the late switch right before the start of this game between Onzaldo and Jimenez. Onzaldo, first pitch that she sees, just blasts one right out of the park. Unbelievable to be that ready coming off the bench after getting pulled late. Super, super impressive at bat from Onzaldo.
All 3 runs for the Tidal Wave solo homers. And again, Onzaldo cold off the bench, hot at the plates.
And correction, that was the second pitch for at bat.
2-run game now. And out of the plate here, Trinity Cannon ahead against Vickers, 1 ball to no strikes.
You know, I'm wondering if Onzaldo was dealing with a little bit of pain, because when she was running home from third, she kind of jokingly grabbed her leg. And I don't know if that was like I said, maybe she was hurt and they didn't want to start her, but she came in to pinch hit and didn't have to run because she hit the ball out of the yard. Who knows? Maybe it meant nothing, but just interesting.
But getting back to, again, the strong possibility is there for a potential postseason for these 2 to meet in the first round. They seem to be destined to be second and third by season's end.
Feels like at this point, regardless of how this series ends up, they've been pretty evenly matched in terms of back and forth wins and losses. So we know Smoke's going to be number 1, just mathematically. Then you look at the Adelitas at the bottom. It's going to be really tough for them to climb out of that 4 spot, especially because the Tidal Wave and the Monarchs are so close.
3 balls, 1 strike to Cannon. Kelly Lynch awaits on deck. She represents a tying run. In there, first strike, fills the count. Cannon so far 0 for 2, has struck out against Vickers in this game. Vickers so far 5 innings, 4 strikeouts. And the 3 runs given up, all solo homers. On the ground, sharply hit to second, gets under the glove of Sand and into right. Cannon is on with a base hit, and here comes a tying run now for Coastal Bend.
We've seen infielders on both sides play these tough hops so well, but this one just eats Kylie Sand up. She gets caught in the middle. Rather than going to get that on a shorter hop or backing up to give herself a better chance to field it on a long hop, she just gets stuck, goes right under her glove. That's a tough play to make. It was hit very hard, but that's one that Kylie Sand definitely wants back.
With Tyler Gunnelson back out of the circle here as Onzondo visits with Cannon and her teammates. Now, there is activity in the Monarch bullpen right now. A couple of pitchers getting loose. We'll see how much longer that leash is here for Jaden Vickers. Alexa DeFeo is in the bullpen along with the newcomer Kenna Wilkie, signed to the team on Monday.
How about that? Not a lot of time left in the season, so we were surprised to see her added so late to the roster.
Here's a pop-up, and it's secured by Bradley St. Clair for the first out. Well, you mentioned again, how about that, the timing of it, season almost ending, but the postseason is looming. And, we talked about, pitching has been what has separated the Smoke and everybody else. And so if you're the Monarchs, why not add to your pitching depth?
Sure, and maybe this was something that was in the works all along. We don't know if maybe she was recovering from an injury or had previous commitments in the summer and wasn't sure she'd be able to join the team. So the fact that the Monarchs are able to add her now could be huge for them down the stretch.
Rylan Wiggins homered in her last at-bat. A 1, that's high. A productive night for Wiggins, a sac bunt in the second and that homer in the fourth inning. The silver lining for Vickers in the home runs, all three came with the bases empty. Wiggins represents a tying run, a swing and a miss on a ball upstairs, 1-2. Cannon, the runner at first base here with 1 out.
That's huge for Vickers that all of her home runs have been solo home runs given up. She's really limited her free passes.
Yeah, just 2 walks in the game, and here strikes out Wiggins. So how about Vickers there? Gave up a home run to Wiggins the last time these two met, goes right after her here, and strikes her out on 4 pitches.
Goes back to the outer half of the plate, too. Gets Wiggins to chase. Wiggins might have saw something a little bit more up in the zone, getting a little bit antsy, trying to replicate that home run swing. Great execution by Vickers.
Rock Benavidez fouls it back. Benavidez 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout. So yeah, the free passes, as you said, Haley, she has not hit a batter, and just the 2 walks given up, neither of which came back to haunt her.
That's huge, especially back in the second when she gave up a leadoff walk. How many times do you hear about leadoff walks coming back to bite you defensively? But Vickers has found a way to make the clutch pitch when she needs to.
That ball is on the ground is second, this time handled by Sand, and that's going to end the top of the 6th inning. However, the Tidal Wave with another solo home run. This one a pinch hit homer from Tatum Onzaldo. It's a 2-run game as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Onzaldo off the bench producing here for Coastal Bend.
Super clutch, just absolutely ropes this right over the wall, cleared the wall by just a couple feet. How about coming off the bench being ready to do your job, giving the Tidal Wave a chance?
And we're back here at Bobcat Softball Stadium. It is a 5-3 game. Texas Monarchs on top of Coastal Bend. And looking for insurance here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Trying to go up 2-0 in the series for a team that had their number in the first 3 meetings this season. Swing and a miss by Bradley St. Clair, strike 1. I say 3 meetings, 2. They met twice in Robstown. The Tidal Wave won the first series 2-1 and then swept a 4-game series a couple of weeks ago. On the ground is seconds, and one out. Rock Benavidez handles her position well. And one away here in the sixth inning. St. Clair to the dugouts to start the bottom of the sixth. That'll bring up Kylie Sand.
Another really great show of glove work by Rock Benavidez over at second base. I can tell you these athletes make those plays look easy, but I promise you they're not. You have to pick your hops accordingly. Benavidez doing a good job of staying down on it and securing the out.
Been a productive night for Kylie Sand at the plate. She's 2 for 3 with a double. And also has an RBI. Came on an infield single in the second inning. Batting here with the bases empty and one out. Looking ahead to the top of the seventh for Coastal Bend. It is hitters 8, 9, and 1 due to hit. Glanz, Chelaman, and Ochoa all due in the top of the seventh inning.
I don't know about you, Brant, but this game feels far from over to me. It really feels like the tidal wave almost have the momentum to a degree, especially with 8-9-1 coming up. If they can get either the 8 or 9 hole on base, turn the lineup back over, would really do the Monarchs justice here if they could just scratch one more run across, give themselves a little bit more breathing room. Because while Vickers has thrown well, having to face Coastal Bend for the 4th time through the lineup is not something percentages-wise that typically works in her favor.
There have been some defensive changes, by the way, at the corner infield spots for Coastal Bend here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Tatum Anzaldo had the pinch hit homer now in the game defensively at first base. And so Trinity Cannon, who had been at first, is now at third, taking Julie Jimenez out of the game.
I think she's also, she's playing third with her first baseman's glove. I've truly never seen that before, but, you know, when the team needs you to do your job, you do it. And to be fair, asking her to switch to a regular infield defensive glove is not an easy thing to do because it's a lot smaller. I guarantee you the ground feels a lot further away when you go to a shorter glove. I mean, a first baseman mitt probably has an extra inch, inch and a half on it. So making that adjustment from one inning to the next is probably not the best thing. Even though it's unconventional to play third base with a first baseman's glove, Trinity Cannon's probably more comfortable with that right now.
And that ball lined right to Anzaldo. Again, you come off the bench into the game, that ball is going to find you. But
always
Anzaldo,
does.
Handles it just fine. 2 outs now, and that'll bring up Devin Flaherty.
It really is wild how often that rule is true. There's a reason people say it. The ball's going to find you, you enter the game. It also always seems to find you again if you make an error, too.
One ball, no strikes to Flaherty. Speaking of a productive night, she's also been able to produce here for the Monarchs. That big 2-run base hit of the second inning, which continues to kind of be the hit of the game for the Monarchs. And right now the difference in the game, a 2-run lead here. 2 balls, no strikes. Flaherty also walked. You know, we spoke earlier about how the top part of the order for Coastal Bend really stood out last night. Tonight, that's been the case for the Monarchs. Hitters 1 through 4, really good stuff. After that, not as many hits up and down the lineup.
Yeah, it really feels like the way the game played out last night is very similar to tonight, but the teams are flipped.
In terms of hits, the Monarchs have 5. Big part of their offense has actually been walks in this game. You go back in the 4th inning. At the time, it was a 1-run game, and the Monarchs scored twice and did so without a hit. Drew 4 walks in that inning. And then that's what ultimately got Haley Archer out of the game.
Yeah, that strange defensive play where Brookshire essentially kicked the ball right out of Riley Wiggins' glove. Kind of started a domino effect.
Nice stab made by Lynch in the circle to end the inning. Kelly Lynch with a 1-2-3-6 inning. And again, a great pick over here at her position. And now her team a chance to the top of the 7th inning. Down to their final 3 outs and trailing by 2. Jaden Vickers perhaps going for a complete game. She has a couple in this ballpark this year. One of those in a win over Hub City, another in a complete game victory over the Texas Smoke, and going for one now against Coastal Bend as we go to the top of the 7th inning. And a pinch hitter, Cassie Valdez, leads off the 7th. Valdez, again, that great performance last night in the circle. Valdez, 6 innings, struck out a dozen, but did take the loss after giving up the homer to Vanderford in the game. Talked about her last night, a great two-way player at Our Lady of the Lake, so no surprise to see her at the plate now. Pinch hitting for Reagan Glanz. And tight, 1 ball and 1 strike. Jaden Vickers so far, 5 strikeouts through her 6 innings, but has given up 3 solo home runs. And Valdez checks her swing. It's 2-1. Grace Chellerman is in the on-deck circle and should be followed by Malaysia Ochoa.
So far tonight, Blake Miller has played his cards right with pinch hitters. We'll see if Valdez can come through here. If you're a pinch hitter here, down 2 runs in the top of the 7th, you just got to find a way to get on base. Don't have to go crazy, hit a home run. Any way you can battle here and find your way on base is huge for your team.
Now Valdez did hit 15 homers this year with Our Lady of the Lake, the NAIA national champion this year. Vickers is 3-1, and that is a leadoff walk. So 1 batter into the inning, and the tying run comes up with nobody out.
We talked about Vickers and her limited free passes thus far, and back in the 2nd also gave up a leadoff walk that didn't come back to bite her. Now, though, top of the 7th, 2-run lead. I said it in the bottom of last inning. It just didn't feel like this game was over to me, and now leadoff walk, top of the 7th on, giving your team a chance if you're the Tidal Wave.
First pitch, Chellerman showing a bunt. She's ahead of ball to no strikes. Chellerman 0 for 2 with a strikeout tonight. And time is called by Lily Piper. Now, we did see earlier Alexa DeFeo and the newcomer, Kenna Wilkie, getting loose in the bullpen.
This is so tough as a coach and as a pitcher in this situation, because Vickers has the hot hand, for lack of a better word. She's been able to get herself out of jams into this game. If they do decide to make a change and bring in someone from the bullpen, they're essentially coming in cold. So you have to make sure you're ready to throw strikes, which could work well in your favor, but sometimes it may pay off to go with someone who's got the momentum, for lack of a better word. I know she just gave up a leadoff walk, but she's still been in a groove in this game for the most part.
1-0 to Chellerman, swings and pops it up left side and snagged by Devin Flaherty for a huge first out. One away here in the 7th inning and back in the top of the order. And here comes Malaysia Ochoa, who's now facing Vickers for a 4th time and already has 2 hits against her.
Every single piece of contact that Ochoa has had tonight off of Vickers has been hard. Even her last at bat, when she lined out to Bradley St. Clair had a great jump on that ball and essentially caught it in a dead sprint deep in left center field.
So a couple of misses here from Vickers. Falls behind Ochoa 2-0.
Now that Vickers is behind in the count, she's going to have to choose her poison, because Ochoa has hit the inside and the outside part of the plate hard. So if you're going to attack here, got to make sure you keep the ball down or get her to chase like that.
Yeah, big rip there by Ochoa. Runs the count to 2-1. You see Whitley in the on-deck circle. After that is Tatum Monzaldo. So potentially some big bats here for Costa Bend, trying to erase a 2-run deficit. And it is 3 balls and 1 strike here to Malaysia Ochoa.
It's a huge pitch right here. The hitter is behind Ochoa, like you just mentioned. Whitley and Monzaldo both seeing the ball really well tonight.
The Tidal Wave have had some big 7th innings against the Monarchs this year, and maybe another one building here. Ochoa draws a walk. The tying run is on base now. So 2 on, 1 away, and the heart of the order is coming up. Will Tyler Gunnelson stick here with Jaden Vickers? Right now it seems as if he is.
I'm also curious how Tate Whitley is going to approach this at bat, because she can go to the short game. Monzaldo behind her, hit a home run in her last at bat. If she could get Valdez and Ochoa into scoring position, could set up Monzaldo to drive in 2 runs and tie the game.
Big first pitch there from Vickers for a strike. Whitley so far tonight 1 for 3 with a single. Runners first and second, 1 out. That's way out of the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike. Couple of former SEC players going at it here. Whitley, Ole Miss. Vickers, Kentucky. 1-1 pitch, ground ball. Great backhand made by Sand. Though to first base, is it in time? It is not. A play that almost ended the game. What an effort by Sand, and Whitley beats it out by a hair.
I don't know if you can get a play closer than that. In real time, to me, I thought Whitley was out at first. What a play by Sand. Oh, that's so close.
I think she was out.
I think she was out too. In real time, I thought she was out, and that replay pretty much confirms Tyler Gunnelson out there to argue it as well.
So as the next batter comes up here, Tatum Monzaldo, Gunnelson sending his infield out to visit with Vickers. Let's take a look at this one more time for you. Out of second base, back to first.
She's out.
Yep. And look at it from this angle here. You're watching their front right foot, and she's out.
Definitely out. How about that pick from Emily Hott?
The game extends. Call that doesn't go the Monarchs' way. Here we go. Swung on it, a base hit from Onzondo. Makes this a one-run game as Valdez scores. And now it's 5-4.
This is where, as a defense, you have to regroup now. You can't let this get out of hand. You still have a chance to close this game out here in the top of the 7th. It's unfortunate that that call was missed, but umpires are human. It is part of the game. We don't have replay in this league, unfortunately, either. Now the Monarchs are going to make a pitching change here.
Needing to get that 21st and final out of the game, Tyler Gunnelson is going to make a change. Going to bring in Trinity Slaughterbeck. So Slaughterbeck is in. The tying run is at second base. Go ahead run at first, and the batter is Trinity Cannon. Now, while Cannon was 0 for 3 against Vickers, a player of her caliber, seeing Vickers for a fourth time, just maybe not in the cards here for the Monarchs, and so with that, a change is being made.
Yeah, Cannon also hit the ball really, really hard last at bat, towards Kylie Sand at second base. So this pitching change makes sense, but if you're Trinity Slaughterbeck here, you've got to throw strikes. Can't afford to load the bases here. Defense has several opportunities to record a force out. If I'm Slaughterbeck here, I'm just trying to hit my spot somewhere down in the zone and roll a ground ball out, let my defense work.
The inning began with a walk to the pinch hitter, Cassie Valdez. After a pop-up by Chellerman, Ochoa drew a walk of her own. Runners first and second, and then a ground ball hit to second base by Tate Whitley on a play that should have been called a double play, but Whitley was called safe at first base. The next batter, the next pitch, Tatum Onzondo with a base hit to left to make it a one-run game. And now runners first and seconds, 2 outs, and the batter is Trinity Cannon, who had a big 3-run homer last night. Huge moment here. Chopper to short. Flaherty plays it back. A flip to second. Is it in time? It is, to end the inning and end the game.
Ooh, that was close.
So another bang-bang play in the infield. This time it goes the Monarchs' way. When you said it, another tight play and the exchange just in time.
Oh, Flaherty had to back up on that, make sure the ball didn't eat her up, but able to get it over to Sand in time. Very competitive back and forth game, but the Monarchs able to hold on and close it out.
So for the second night in a row, these two teams playing one right down to the wire. And our player of the game tonight is starting pitcher Jaden Vickers, 1 out shy of a complete game, 6 2/3, and strikes out 5.
Jaden Vickers just continued to find a way to get outs when she needed them. And even if you go back to the top of the 7th, she did her job, was able to roll a double play with the missed call over at first base. Credit Trinity Slaughterbeck to be able to come in and close it out for her, but Jaden Vickers set the tone, saw it through for the Monarchs here tonight.
So Jaden Vickers, again, our player of the game as the Monarchs hold on to win by a final score of 5-4. And with that, Haley, the Monarchs are now taking back second place in the WPF standings.
Going to be really exciting to see how the rest of this series shakes out. Got 2 more games to be played. Will they stay tied, or will one team take the lead? Seen 2 teams very evenly matched, so I'm excited to see how the rest of the series plays out.
Game 3 of the series tomorrow has been pushed back from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. start, and the finale Sunday is at 1 o'clock. We'll have both games for you right here on the official WPF YouTube channel. That's going to wrap up our coverage of this game tonight. For Haley McKay, I'm Brain Freeman saying once again the final score, the Monarchs 5 and the Tidal Wave 4. This has been a presentation of Women's Pro Fast Pitch. For more information, go to wprofastpitch.com. Until next time, good night from Bobcat Softball Stadium.